y'all. Welcome to this episode of Talk Your Shit podcast. We're going to talk about the fashion industry and what it's like being one, amazing, and two, a Black luxury handbag designer. I'm joined today by Miss Tressa Walker. How are you?
I am doing amazing. So happy to be here.
I am so happy that y'all are here. I am excited to have this conversation with you because y'all, she's amazing. Just from the brief conversation I've had with you, I already know you out here killing it. They're not ready. So Tressa, tell us what you do.
Well, what I do is I am a handbag designer. I'm having to really take that title and really run with it because I'm just kind of like, because you kind of tiptoe around with your new ventures. But some background, I am a real estate broker in the Atlanta market during, that's my profession and what I do. And I've learned a lot from that. I've been in the industry for over 17 years. So, so making a total turn or pivot to another direction within the fashion world through handbag designs is different, but that is where I am right now.
Okay, well, tell us all about it. What is your background? So you said that you're real estate. And so how did you get to where you are now?
Oh, so it started a long time ago as a young teenager. Well, probably before my preteen. So here's the thing. My mom got some magazines, they used to be able to sign up to get all these different magazines. Well, I was about 10 years old and my mom got me Vogue magazines instead of like 17 and all of the other ones. So I grew up in a small town, very small town in Georgia, Tifton. Not many people have heard of that, but small town. We didn't have anything that was in the Vogue magazines. Let me just say that. Our mall only had about 2 or 3 stores. But I grew up looking in these magazines, and the things that the items that stood out to me the most were handbags. So I've been obsessed with handbags as long as I can remember. But again, being in a small town, you don't see the handbags that are in those Vogue magazines. And so I would just create, be imagining things. And I was thinking about this the other day where I had a 5th grade dance that was coming up. And so I drew out like the outfit, which was chicken scratch, but I made sure my bag that I was designing out was on. I mean, it was colorful. It had all the crayons and all of that different stuff to make it pop. So that's where it started. And as I've been thinking about it, I didn't know that there was a lane really for fashion. Like you could, no one in my hometown or no one that I knew, was, they were fashionable, but nobody did fashion as a career. So I really didn't really connect the two. I just knew you go off to college, you get a degree and, go and be great. But luckily for me, one of my first schools when I graduated high school was a fashion school, but I went for business administration, the business side. Because I thought that was more safe. I lived with they were in school for fashion design, fashion merchandising, interior design. But I kind of took that for granted and thought that, okay, I need to do the safe thing. And I can remember going to my roommates and saying, hey, I'm going to draw this out. Can y'all make this? Can you make this? And so fortunately for me, my school was in the bottom of Phipps Plaza, which is a high-end mall in Atlanta. So I had everything around me that said fashion, but I was afraid. I thought I needed to have more. I needed to have that 4-year degree. I needed to have this. I needed to have that. So
you said something. You said being safe, playing it safe.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know why, but that is so ingrained, especially in the Black community, is to play it safe. Don't do anything too crazy. Don't go out there starting businesses and you don't even know, what's going to happen. You should be a nurse. You should be a doctor. You should just play it safe, right? And so a part of it, I think, comes from our history where, we were never safe, honestly, in our history. We,
Right.
Always had to take a risk. We also always had to do something to, feel safe. And so the thought of now doing something where we have freedom, but the thought of doing something that, isn't safe is like, oh, hold on. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with this. And the thing is that we never know what's going to happen. Life is unpredictable. It's very unpredictable. So we might as well do something crazy, right? We might as well risk it because that is how we, get to pursue our passions and get to find what we truly love and enjoy life and not be miserable, right?
Right.
So the fact that you decided to not play safe when everyone around you told you to play it safe, now you're over here doing things that, what you love, designing handbags. Okay.
Yeah.
And I love that you are doing that. And I love when I met you, I was super excited. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to get one,
It took some time and I have played it safe. One of my close friends, she always, says, you are such a rule follower. Like I'm such a rule follower. You tell me to do something. I mean, there are rules to be broken, but pretty much, standard of, okay, you go to school, you get this degree. Because now I left the fashion school and ended up transferring to a university because it was the safe thing to do. But but everything now makes sense. It makes sense. The failed businesses in my 20s that didn't do well because I was relying on others and didn't really take ownership of it. All of these things now are making sense. And that allowed me to step out and say, okay, wait a minute. These designs are 20 years old. What are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you going to sit back on the sidelines and watch? Because I've watched all the emerging Black handbag designers that have come to the forefront over the past few years, buying first initial bags that, that just came out because I was like, oh, this is nice. Okay, let me support. Or me, I've liked handbags that had a story behind it or, had some uniqueness and everything. But most of the time I didn't see anyone that looked like me that was designing handbags. I mean, think about it. Up until recently, maybe in the past, and maybe 5-10 years, we're seeing it like everywhere. So it really made me, and it was over the pandemic that made me say, wait a minute, maybe I can do this. Let me just figure it out.
Yeah, it's something about being stuck in your house forced to be in your house for months that make you want to get your life together. Look, it's something about the world ending that's like, maybe I should do something, Maybe
I should do something. Okay. And when I going through some old boxes, pull out the old sketchbook, and I see my old designs just sketched out and had to put the dust off of them. Like, wait, this been sitting around for a long time. And that's what's so crazy about it to me. Honestly, I'm talking 20 years ago. Yes, 20 years ago is when I drew out my first bag, which is now I can see it. So I was intentional about making sure that design from 20 years ago was my first product, my first handbag that came to life. Of course, I modernized it, put a little twist to it to make it fit.
Right.
Again, not an artist now. So I don't have these design skills. It's like 3-dimensional. No, it was almost chicken scratch for me, just sketching out my logos. I always knew if at the time, if I ever had a handbag line, I always knew the name and I had sketched out the logo and all of that. But it was really when I was going through and dusting it off and was like, why didn't I ever pursue this? But the thing about it is, especially when I look at what was on paper and now having a physical product in my hands, it's almost like, wow, you did that. You really stepped out.
That.
You did that. So in those days when I'm questioning, because those questions in your head don't go away. You know what I mean? Just like you said, in our community, play it safe. And, I mean, it's, the economy's bad, the recession. Why are you trying to do this? Those questions still are in your head, And so it's like, okay, let's go back to it. And then I have it and I see it and I'm like, wow, okay, you can do this. You can do this.
Yeah.
Keep on. Keep on.
Yeah. And it's important too for the Black community to do too much, to not play it safe, because the white people, the white man is not out here playing it safe. Okay. He is doing too much, doing the most. We got some mediocre white men out here, billionaires. For what reason? For none. Okay. So why can't Black people do it? Why can't Black women do it? Right? Why can't she be too much, be too loud and make too much money? Right?
I know. Right.
So cheers to Rihanna. Okay, she's gonna be shot on every episode.
Every episode, right?
Self-made billionaire. Thank you, self-made billionaire. Okay, I want that for all of us. Honestly,
me too. Yes. I do too, and that is the reason why now, present day, it keeps me going, because it's bigger than us. And as I've kind of expanded on what I want my brand and what I want my handbags to mean, I want it to have a message of community. When you see my handbag, it shows support. It's a safe space. It's saying, hey, you can come here. You can come and speak to me. You can come and talk to me. It's a conversation piece. It's a way to say, hey, yes, this was a Black designer, Black. But let me tell you, I have all the things they say that you're not supposed to, like, I'm not supposed to have a handbag. Not only raised in a very small town, Black woman, single mom at that. Let's add that piece to it. Raising a child, raising a beautiful, brilliant daughter on my own. So this is an example for her as well. So all of those things that tell you can't do this, it shows I'm like this. If I can do it, yes, you can. You can.
Yes.
Like and that is one of the things that really does keep me going. I'm all about building. I've built teams. And then when I think about all the teams I've built and all the money I have made for others, for other companies, other real estate companies, even so much so, I feel like as a Black woman, we are so magical. We can come up with ideas. We can make $1 out of 15 cents. We can do all of the things, but I was doing all of the things for other people, creating and creating ideas, creating concepts, building teams, that I was able to see others profit from it. And it wasn't until I made a connection as I was doing my handbags, and I was just like, but nobody knows me. You know what I mean? And is anybody gonna buy this? And what if it fails and all of that? But I remember I was on this show once, right? Just came up with an idea. It was a talk show of one of the housewives had a talk show about 10 years ago. And I would watch, I watched it, and I was just more connected to how she built her business. Like, how did it, okay, so it was just this, and then it turns into, she sold it for like $100 and something million to this skinny girl brand. So she has a talk show. So she does these different things, Bethany, in your business. But then she said, I want you in my business. So I'm creating a new drink. I want you to, audience, submit your favors. Top 3 will be flown up to New York, and then we'll choose on stage. I just so happenly say, hey, well, let me put my I have an idea, because that's what I do. I come up with ideas. I come up with this. Girl, they called me and I flew up there, competed against 3 other people for my flavor, and won. And won.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Wow. Immaculate. I love that for you.
Yes, it was amazing. And she said, at that point, you are a product developer. Your drinks will be in stores nationwide and all of this stuff. And it was just like, wow, okay. But I didn't even realize the power of just the creativity of that, just something that literally just came to me, and it was received, and it was in stores nationwide. It taught me something recently as far as like, what, the magic and the power that's in there. It made me sit back and was like, when I had those doubts, I'm like, you're magical. You can come up with ideas, and although other people were able to profit more from it, take that same magic, take that same ideas that you feel that others can benefit from, or that they will, whatever I was feeling on that, and apply it to you. Do that same thing that you've done for others for yourself, and see what can be created. Now I'm like, it's my turn. Let's make it happen. Because I know
exactly.
Yeah. It's because if I don't do this, who behind me won't? Who's coming up? Because that's the one thing about it. I want to share. Okay, this is what happened. This is how I did this. This is how I did that. Not holding it for captive and secrets. Because sometimes when you try to reach out and find people to help you, everybody go mute then. Don't nobody know how they did.
White. Crickets. I don't know what it is when a Black person gets a job. It's like, ooh, I'm so happy for you. You were out here working for the white man, out here working for corporate America. But then when it's like, oh, I started a business, crickets. They act like they didn't even see your post. And it's like, oh, okay. That's how we're going to do. How y'all expect us to take over? And y'all not even supporting us,
Right. That is that's the thing. But I will say what has been so refreshing and so great is like meeting people like you that have been so supportive and so like, how can we collaborate? What can we do together? I have this resource, or I have this, and sharing. When I tell you, this has been this year of that since January. It's just been meeting those with like minds that are like, hey, I'm not trying to hoard all the secrets. I know that what I feel like is everyone is confident in their own space and understand that they bring some uniqueness and some genuine, bring their own to the table to where you can feast and share. Yeah. And it's like, hey, okay, well, I got this resource. I've been blown away by the support of people that didn't know me from anyone. And it's just like, oh, okay, you doing this? I'm doing this. Okay, let's link up. Let's do this. And it's genuine. ROI did that. I was blown away by that.
Look, I'm trying to tell these people about ROI. Y'all need to come.
Oh, okay. Let me tell you, I was telling everybody. I'm one of those ones that's something I got to tell everybody, because I just felt so, because naturally, and it may not show right now because, I am an introvert. Like
same sis. Same. Okay. And whole introvert starting a podcast, talking too much.
Like even thinking about doing a podcast, I would just be like, oh my gosh, I gotta talk. Because I'm, kind of in the background when I need to be in the forefront and need to be up front, I can do it, but it take everything in my whole soul and everything, that hype. You gotta be in the mirror like, okay, like Issa Rae. Like, let me get it. Hey, look. So that was and ever since then, it's just changed my outlook on everything. Like, I felt when I came back from ROI, I felt like I was in a bubble of support and people where you felt okay and felt like, okay, it's okay to go over and say, hey, I'm such and such, or, hey, what do you do? I know I felt like I was stalking you beforehand.
Look.
When I saw you post on Facebook and you was a stylist, I'm like, oh, I need to meet her. Okay, you had your brand. Oh, I need to get in there. Hey, Diamond.
There were apparently like a good handful of people that stalked me beforehand that already knew me. They were waiting to meet me, and I'm like, me, little on me.
Hey, I was like,
yeah, but then at the end, I was like,
let me find Diamond. Okay. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Took me to go all the way to ROI to find these secret gems of amazing women that are doing it here in Atlanta. Oh my gosh. And just as supportive as it was at ROI, just as much support here. It was it just blew my mind away. And so it's kept me, they say when you go to conferences and stuff, like it wears off like a week and a half later, you all hyped up on cloud nine and like I can conquer the world, and then you get back to reality. And I would say if I would not have had that support in place, that could have possibly happened, because getting back into still, I'm doing dual things. I'm designing and trying to launch, trying to do the next launch, while still my everyday of being a real estate broker, which is totally different. And so I can see where it was kind of slumping and me losing that momentum and then me getting back in my head. But it was like the people that I met, we had a group chat on going, and it was like, hey, let's meet up. Let's all meet up. Let's keep this going. And they're holding each other accountable. And that's the thing that I see that's needed in this entrepreneurship and stepping out. You got to have that support. You got to have that tribe. You got to have that squad around you that understands the difficulties of being a Black woman, being, going into this fashion space. That is the beast. That fashion ain't no joke.
Child, fashion industry is another beast. So have you always wanted to be in fashion? Like, have you always wanted to be a handbag designer?
Always loved handbags. The designing part of it didn't come until later, of me actually believing I always said if I had, but like I said, I had a love for handbags since I was younger, but I just started appreciating the handbags that were created around. Like, I can tell you this, my best friend, we've been best friends since I was like 12, and she used to go, we didn't have this store, which is everywhere now, TJ Maxx. And I remember giving her some money and saying, okay, it was these pair of jeans that were out, they were real hot. I need that, but I need you to find me a bag. I need you to find me a purse. Bring me a purse back. I just pick out something. Trusted her enough. I knew she has great style herself. So, so it's been like that. And then I remember moments of being able to carry a special handbag, or what I felt was special. And so I remember my cousin let me borrow her little bitty Coach bag for the summer while I was visiting her. And I was like, oh, I love the feel of it, because it's like, for me, it's an experience. Yes. When I see a handbag or see a really well-made, one that feels a certain way. And then as I got older, I looked at it as a piece of wearable art. And so it told a story for me. I would be able to kind of look, and now I say this, I make purse contact before I make eye contact.
I love that.
Yeah. So
I make eye contact with your outfit before I make eye contact with you.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And it tells that story. It says something to me. And I always balance this out when I tell people this. It's like, no, I'm not judging your handbag. I'm looking at it, and it almost can tell me a little bit about that person. And I've been pretty on point with it once I take a look. When I see someone care. And I always think, okay, so I wonder what made her decide this bag. What was the story behind it? And so that's what's really important to me, the story behind the bag. And so that's why each one of my bags has a story, or it's connected to it's connected to somebody.
Tell me where the name came from. I don't even want to try to say the name right now. I'm gonna let you say it because I don't have like I'm not trying to disrespect you and butcher it. So where'd the name come from? Tell us how to pronounce it.
So I've had the name my entire life because it's my middle name. It's AHISA. So AHISA. Okay. Yes. So the story behind it is so special to me, and it possesses everything about me. My mother's best friend named me. So my first name is actually named after her daughter, and she named me AHISA. I don't know why, because I don't know where the name came from. There is no, I've heard since I've launched, people have, felt very nice to tell me what the meaning might be. But there was no meaning or no anything that was just like, oh, this means light and love or anything like that. It's just something that she created. And for a long time, I was ashamed of my middle name. Like because I couldn't pronounce it. Everybody would jack it up and they would say AHISA, Asha, Aisha and everything. So at one point, I just decided, I was just like, I'll just go with whatever they call it. What is it? Aisha was very popular. A song had came out and somebody was singing about it. So I was like, okay, I'll go with that, because it was like everybody was messing it up. But as I got older, I stopped saying, I just say my middle name is A. So I would just sign A. But it was a part of me. It was a part of me that I felt like maybe I was kind of denying that because other people couldn't figure it out. It says something. Sometimes we give up certain things in our life because of others. No, this is who I am. And so as I came into that and, saw the uniqueness of it, I then said, if I ever had a handbag line or whenever I was designing out my handbags, I would use my middle name. It's unique. It's different. There are a lot of designers out there. Some people don't even pronounce Dior right. You know what I mean? So,
right. Or Versace,
So right. I grabbed hold of that and was like, okay, I want this to be the name of my brand, because, and this is during this whole process, I've just learned the two things that stand out the most about me when people really get to know me is my love for handbags and my love for my friends. I love my friends with everything in me. I have had a great support system since I told you my best friends is 12. She going to TJ Maxx to buy me a bag, and I've had that around me. And my friends have become, at times like my CPR when I can't breathe, when I don't know what to do. And so when I thought about my middle name, my handbag line from my mother's best friend, I was like, listen, I'm here, I'm doing this. Let me merge my two loves together. And so my bags are inspired by the beauty and magic of friendship. And so my first product, my first bag that I designed and that is now available to purchase is named after my mother's best friend, Betty. So it's Betty's Bucket. So each bag, each line, each design that I have, like I have multiple ones just kind of sketched out that are inspired by the people in my life, by my friends. And even too, I would hope as this grows and becomes the house of AHISA. Speak it. Yes. I would hope that, even those that I meet, because I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, yeah, I know what would be a diamond handbag. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, what would be a diamond handbag?
I would see the uniqueness of it. It would be So what I see is like it would be a clutch that's also convertible into where you can convert it if you needed to into a crossbody. But it would be like carrying a piece of art with multiple. It would have multiple colors on one side, but then on the other it would be a solid. So
it's giving Fendi.
Giving Fendi.
Not gonna lie, I dig it.
Yeah. So I thought about that the other day, but see, that's how I visualize things, especially when I connect with someone, because of your style and your, I mean, come on now. When you bring it, you bring it. And so,
hey, look, we don't see nothing yet. Don't. Come see nothing yet. Hold on. Look, we on the come up. I'm on the come
up. And I could see that. And the reason why I would have, because of your fashion background, sometimes, you may have on a certain outfit, and the outfit is the statement, is making that statement. So then your bag, when you turn it this way, hey, it might be solid, but then if you're being a little more, maybe monotone, to have one color, then you flip it around and you have the multicolors that's in there that shows both sides of it. So that's what I would see if I was designing your bag.
Wow. So, okay. So I'm going to need you to design that bag and then send me the link to that bag because I want it.
Well, it would have to be, it would be named, you would know it's yours because it would be named Diamond, something Diamond, whatever that bag is. Because
I'm already branched.
You already ready for it. So
I'm already ready for it.
Each one of these bags would have a name to it. My next one that I'm working on, or it's being worked on, is being created and manufactured right now as we speak, is named after my first friend. My very first friend that I had. And so each one has a story behind it.
So how did you come up with the iconic shape of the bag? Because you told us a backstory. How did you come up with the shape? What did that process look like?
So the process of it, honestly, at the time, I wanted something at the time because I didn't see anything like that. And at the time.
Because now we see it.
Now you see it. So I wanted it to be something that was unique, and that if you sat it somewhere on a shelf, it would just stand out, almost like a piece of art, or like, we have these little tchotchkes and different stuff we put around. At the time, I wanted it to be something that could stand on its own and be its own piece of art. So when I was drawing it out with the handles and with the shape of it, I was like, okay, what would that look like if that was just sitting on a shelf, like in your house? Not like on the shelf at the store, but if you just sat it down, would it be something that would stand out? So that's how that design started. But then as I tried to improve it, to modernize it a bit for 2021, the ruching at the top to make it different, because now bucket bags are in. Now they were not, and I know it's like, okay, you would think that I had some, had been at Fashion Week or something and saw that on the lines that all the models were carrying. No, it wasn't. Not that. The design from 20 years ago, modernized it and added tail to it to kind of make it stand out. And then two, I also, as far as the size of it at the time, I was like, okay, I carry a lot of stuff in my purse sometimes. A lot of stuff you're probably not supposed to. But I'm like throwing my
there's no rule.
I have thrown my iPad in there. I threw this, and this. And so one of the things I wanted to make sure that it could hold all of that, but it didn't have to be like an iPad bag. So this one in particular can fit those items in there with space. And when I got it, after drawing it out and doing the measurements of it and working with the manufacturer, which got it, I was like, oh my goodness, okay, it is exactly, what I thought. There was a few things I had to tweak because before, when I did it, I didn't think about okay, I need a pocket in the inside. Those little details like that, because, you know, when you're putting your keys, you don't want to, especially with a bucket bag, you don't want to have to dig all the way down. You want something that would be easily accessible, like for your keys or your lipstick, or makeup or anything that you may need. So it was a great process. I was nervous.
Mm-hmm.
I was nervous because I was using vegan materials. So I wanted to make sure, you know, I didn't even really, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't even really know what that really meant all the way around. I know that term is thrown around very loosely, and you do have to be careful with that, because vegan does not equal sustainability, because some vegan materials take over like 500 years to decompose. So that you know, just making sure all of those parts of it that I didn't think about, and just was like, oh, what does it mean? So I carried the bags for months before I even let anybody see anything. Cause I was like, I don't want to get this and then 3 months down the line, it's out somebody at the beach and it just starts melting or something. I didn't know. All of this in real time. I'm still learning. All of these different terminologies with these materials and what this means, and wanting to be ethical and everything about my products, and making sure that I am, you know, just not using these key terms to draw people, but that it really is what it is. And that I do love about my bags, the more you carry it, the softer it gets. Like the material feels softer. Because that, you know, for me, if I'm sitting up there trying to rub on people's bags, you know, for me, it's gotta.
Yes. Yeah. Honestly, that you're thinking of, like, that you have to test it out, right? That you're making sure you're being honest. Because look, a lot of these people out here, they're not honest. All right, some of these brands out here just lying, sitting on the throat of lies. Okay, so I love to hear that you're like, okay, I'm not sure, you know, what vegan is, so let me do my research. Okay, cool. Now let me carry this bag around and make sure it doesn't melt in the sun, right? So that whole process is really great, honestly. So, okay, so I just want to emphasize the fact that you're not just a regular handbag, okay? Luxury, okay? Luxury. So your question is, baby, the question, I don't know if people can hear when I say the question, right, is have you ever had people, and I know you have, ever had people question your price? You clearly explained that it's a luxury handbag brand, right? But some people don't articulate that. Have you ever had people question your price, and what was your response?
Yes. I've had people question my price on both ends. So on the most, you know, one that we think of, bags cost too much. I can't afford that. You know, those types of questions, or are you gonna come out with a cheap, just pretty much a cheaper brand, right? a cheaper price? Yes, I've had that, and I've handled it in a way that says, you know what, I understand my bag may not be for everyone, and I understand it.
You're not meant to be for everybody.
I'm not for everybody. But I do know this, that if someone really wants the bag, they will get it.
They're going to get that bag.
They're going to get that bag, whomever. And my thing has been this. So this gets a little bit, let's get down to it with it. What surprises me, and what I do understand about my handbags, and understanding the psychology behind carrying some of these bags. Sometimes people will carry a bag because of the name, and they don't care nothing about what, you know, none of the other stuff that comes on with it. It's just because of the name. And I do understand it, and I'm okay with that. And they will pay, they'll pay $100 to $300 for a knockoff version of something that is $1,500, $1,600, $2,000. But they see my bag, which is within those same price points between $150 to $300, and like, I don't know her, so I ain't gonna care.
Right.
Well, that is not for them. It's not for them, because I try to figure out how to say this the right way, in that my bags, when you carry my bag, you make the bag, not the bag making you. That makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So when you're carrying it, you're carrying it with pride. You're carrying it because you're making a statement about yourself, not that you're carrying this bag so people will identify and be like, oh my. Now again, I have designer handbags, clearly, if I'm a handbag lover, so I understand that. But I also have, I've carried back, from anywhere. If it speaks to me, it speaks to me because I understand that I'm making it. Like, it's about me. It's an extension of who I am. So when I do get those questions about the price, it is what it is. You do not, nobody has went up to, they went to Saks and been like, why y'all charging so much?
Girl, don't nobody go up to Coco Chanel. I mean, she did, but like, don't nobody go up to her grave and be like, so why, your stuff costs so much? They don't go up to Donatella, Versace, asking her why Versace is so expensive.
Or even right now, nobody going up to Telfar saying, hey, I love, let me tell you something. I love how they've done their thing. I've loved how Telfar has done their thing, and how they have made, I've sat back and watched Telfar, Brandon Blackwood. I absolutely am just,
girl,
oh my God.
A goal.
It
is a dream to go. His bags, his stuff, his shoes. Oh my God.
Oh, I've seen the shoes. Oh my goodness.
Oof. Just the black magic. That's all I'm saying.
The black magic of it all. He, honestly, Brandon Blackwood, when I saw his process, that was one of the designers that I saw that I was like, why I've been sitting on this idea? Because I bought his first, that end systematic racism bag, the canvas, when I was on it. Like, I was like, let me get this. Didn't know anything about him. Not as, I've learned more about him since then, because I think that was in 2020. And just seeing him. And then when I start seeing him on his bags, carrying on, and just like that, Sex in the City, that's the, you get on some of those shows like that. And then Issa Rae had on Insecure, all of it. I was like, oh my gosh, he is just blown up. And he stays true to who he is. Was able to speak with him. I would wonder, what did the sales look like with the first in systematic racism bag? Like, what, when Beyonce shouted out Telfar?
Yeah.
When I heard that, because I listened to the album that first night, and I was like, oh my damn. They were already popular. But what I loved is that they had one of their drops at Rainbow. Did you see that?
I did. And my bank account were in an argument, and so I couldn't, purchase one, but it's okay.
Because if you miss that drop, they drop it at noon, and they sold out by 1:00. But when I saw that at Rainbow, I was like, he is sending a strong message that his bags are made for everyone. If you know how they're a part of the conversation now, women, we need some women.
Girl, we need some women up in there. We need to be part of the conversation. So the goal is to get you up there, part of that conversation. Okay.
And there
amen. Thank you.
Amen and thank you. Yeah, I would love to be a part of that conversation, because that's one thing that I've noticed. I was like, wow, there are a lot of males that are in that space. Not many. I see a few. I see a few of us, but not as many as I would like.
Which is wild, because literally handbags are for women, Now, I'm not saying that's only for women, right? Like, the men can wear them too. We love y'all. Be great, you know what I'm saying? But mostly women are the ones who are, wearing the fancy handbags. And so it's like, if we're the main ones wearing it, why are we not the main ones creating them,
Right.
So it doesn't something that added up. So with you being, trying to get, higher up in that space, with you being in that space and as a founder, so how has your outlook on the fashion industry shifted? Because now that you're seeing these other artists, you're seeing these other designers, finally be recognized, finally taking up space, how has that changed your outlook?
It's changed my outlook drastically, because I didn't, when I would see fashion brands, I would assume that, they've had to be around for hundreds of years. I mean, we look at Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and all of that. They've been around forever. I didn't really think like, new people, I mean, they had to, grow into it and everything, which I understand that. But I look at it differently. So when I see Fashion Week now, I see that, okay, all of the details and everything that had to go into that to get this line, and then more collaborations are going on. And I'm understanding the whole part about that. Oh, these collabs that are going on, where you would think that these are rivals, but they're really understanding, let's work together and then go get this bag together. Just, I look at things differently. Like people that I thought were super stylish or really on trend or really this, that, and the other. I'm just like, oh, it's a whole team behind that really, the creatives that are behind the scenes that's really making that happen. And, also I really realized I didn't have to know everything to get in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have to know all of the everything to just even start. It's really just putting what it started off with is me Googling purse manufacturers. This is how all of this, when I made that decision that I wanted to do this, I was like, so if they made this bag, so I mean, I know that, because let me tell you what I did used to do back in the day. I used to go to the fabric store and go get like just heavy made, more sturdy fabric and just sew some of the bags together that I was sketching out. So that was my process 20 years ago, thinking that that's what, but then as time went on and I started seeing more handbags and more people designing clothes and everything, I was like, I know these people ain't at home doing this starting out. They got to start somewhere. And so it just took me Googling purse manufacturers. Then I thought about, I was like, purse manufacturers in Italy. That's what I thought, because of the weather, and just some of, the things that I was knowledgeable about with other fashion designers. Because again, I could tell you a lot about, from Louis Vuitton to Kate Spade, all of these people. I could tell you their stories and where it came from and how it went about, but I was not connecting the dots of, okay, well, what if you're not a well-known brand? How do they get their start? Just for instance, like I feel like our iconic designers from the 90s, like Fubu, Aniche, Pele, or Cross Colors, or Baby Fat, and all of that. I'm like, how did they get this start? And then too, in this whole process, I've learned, because I've been seeing started seeing some of the same bags, but with different labels. So the same bag I'm seeing in Target, I was seeing in Saks, but it had the Saks Fifth Avenue label on it. And and Target may have their brand. So I just started being like, no, wait a minute.
Right there. People buy the brand and not the bag. They buy the brand.
Right. Oh, definitely. And I get it. And I learned that lesson as I've been, as I launched. I learned that lesson, because don't get me wrong, I've had some amazing support from friends and family. I mean, the support has been over the moon. I mean, I could not ask for, better support, in people buying the bags, telling their friends about it. And, that even in that support, some may just buy it to support, but they're not going to carry it because it doesn't come with that high-end name on it. And I get that, and I have to respect that, because because a handbag means so much more to me, that doesn't necessarily mean that it may mean the same thing for, another person. And actually, I probably don't want them carrying it because they don't. You get what I'm saying? And I had to be okay with it because at first it was kind of offensive in a way, like, and I felt one of the things I said, I was like, I bet if somebody shout me out on their song or something, then they'll want to carry it. But then it's like I asked myself, but does my brand align with that? And really having that brand awareness of like, okay, and I still, right now as I'm processing all of this, because don't get me wrong, yes, I want to be in stores everywhere. I want people to carry it, but I also want people to carry it because of the meaning and because what it stands for and because of everything that we talked about, not just because such and such shouted it out or such and such carried this. I want them to connect to it. And that goes back to like who I am as a relational person. How I've been successful in all my other ventures and all my other jobs is not because I'm a terrible salesperson. Let me just tell you this. I am not good with it. Like, wait a minute. How are you a real estate broker? No, it's I've had clients and I've been successful because I connect the relational part of it and knowing the why and what they do. So I want my bags to reflect that on why are you carrying this? Are you just carrying it, because it's got a name on it? Cool. If that's if that's it. But I really want it to stand out. I literally want it to be a brand that is a brand that says to somebody, okay, this person is loved. This person is supported. This person shows support. This person shows love. Like it embodies all of that when they see that. So I had to get over that when understanding that, some people, they're not going to carry it because it's not Chanel. It's not Birkin. It's not Louis Vuitton. These, that comes along with the status that, hey, I've made it. I get it. It's cool. I really, really hope that as it grows, that when people, they feel good, they feel like, I got my house bag. I'm about to go and kill this meeting. I'm about to go into this, or just frolicking in the park,
And we love frolicking, okay? I don't care what anyone says. Black people deserve to frolic, okay?
Yes. Rest as a resistance, honey. Let's frolic.
But that is amazing. Like, I love the fact, first of all money is not good money. This is a saying that I continue hearing, and I'm going to continue saying this message. Okay, all money is not good money. Every person does not need to buy your product. Yes, you may want that exposure, and yes, you want more profit, but you want the right people. You want the right people to, purchase your products, because then those people will tell people who are like them, hey, you should purchase this product. And now you have continued this chain of, fans, of authentic people. You don't want any and everybody, crazy people representing your brand, because that says things about you you don't want to be said about you, right? So I love the fact that you have come into terms that like, okay, I'm not for everybody, and that's okay. Because if you were for everybody, you wouldn't be doing something correct. So for people who are listening, if you are trying to be for everybody, you are being for no one. Okay. So that is super important. So baby, as we slowly continue, as we slowly wrap up, tell us a couple of receipts, tell the people who have purchased your brand, who have purchased your bag. What are things that they said?
Oh, well, the things that they said is, what I love the most. Like, oh my gosh, it feels.
And I'm gonna need you to not be humble. Just go nuts.
Oh, okay. Well, they've said how great it feels when they're carrying it because they love the material. They have talked about the uniqueness of the style and how many compliments they get. I get text messages and calls like, I was carrying your bag, or they will send me. What I love the most is when people send me photos of them carrying their bags. I'm like, oh my goodness. It feels
Girl,
so
you need to post those photos.
Let me tell you. Okay, let's.
Why are you not posting them? Why I don't see them on your social media? Because yes, I lurked.
I am very deficient in the area of social media. I am inspired by what you're doing. I'm inspired so much by what you're doing, and I need to surround myself around those that are better. That's their zone of genius, not mine. That is when I tell you that social media is a beast to me, and it's like I've tried. And this is also a lesson for people. You got to know where your strength is and where your weaknesses are, because with me not being out there and the marketing and everything, it shows the reason why my sales are not where they possibly could be. But I've also had to, the people that I have had a chance to meet that are giving me advice and telling me some of the things that I may have misstepped on, and I have to kind of roll back a bit to really bring more brand awareness and the story behind the bags. Because one of the brand strategists that I've spoken with is like, people need to see your story. They need to hear everything that comes along with it. And I didn't think about all, I was, really and true. I was like, oh, I got my bag, so I just was like, okay, well, what now? And so that's why it's so important to surround yourself around other people that have done this either back, taking a few steps back, so that I can have more brand awareness, which the social media part is a part of that I need to get better at, and just really get out of my head that imposter syndrome part of it. Like, because I'm really not a person that likes to be on camera in front and doing all of that. But the mission and my belief in my bags is pushing me to do it. So yes, you're right. I have to get out there and put all of the wonderful things that are being said. But and also get out of my head on it needing to be perfect, because it's almost like, oh, it's got to be like this, and this. Where I can see, I'll watch people that just throw up, they throw anything up on there, and I'm like, oh, I'm captivated by that. Figuring it out. Yes. And so those are some of the things that I'm doing, but I want to highlight those. Sent me messages about how good they feel when they're carrying it. And so, yes, those are the receipts that people have shared with me. And also, what do I get a lot? When's the next bag? What's the next bag? When can I get this next bag?
You want to let us in on when is the next drop? You gonna let us in on a little something?
So the next drop looks to be around summertime. They're being manufactured right now. I had to go back and tweak it a bit, tweak my design a bit. But also, let me tell you, this design is inspired by the first bucket bag. And also some of the feedback is like, oh my gosh, I love the bag. Do you have a smaller version? I like carrying something smaller whenever I go to the park or to the grocery store if I'm just running. So what I did was I was like, okay, smaller. Let's go back to the drawing board. So the next handbag will be a smaller version of the first one. So it's that true small crossbody as well. And then too, I said I have a daughter, so she's an upcoming teenager. So it's also something that she would be able to carry as well, because it's more of a smaller version. So that's the little secret about that one.
Oh my gosh, I'm honored to be in on The Secret. I'm honored.
Yes, you can tell. You can tell. Look, you could tell some people about it.
Oh, I will. I'm gonna shout it from the rooftop. I got you. I'm gonna shout it from the rooftop.
I actually have the sample of it. If you want to see.
I mean, you gonna show us a sample? Let me see a sample.
So let me show you.
Yeah. Let's see the sample. And that's my color. Oh my God. You knew what you was doing. You ain't slick. Oh, baby. So, I'm going to get one of those.
And so, yeah. I'm
obsessed.
It's still a crossbody, but even if you decided that you wanted to shorten it.
I'm obsessed.
So
okay.
I was.
All I'm saying is just send it to me and then send me an invoice because
I got you, girl. I got you.
It's mine.
Yeah, that's a little sneak peek. So
we even got a sneak peek, y'all. We exclusive now.
You really are. Only for you. I think it's the cutest little thing, and then the colors.
It's so cute.
I make sure with summer colors, and then Pantone color for the year. It's magenta. So
you have magenta one? Oh. Okay, for the girls who love pink. I'm not one of them, but
yeah. So
what are 3 final pieces of advice that you want to leave for those who have thought about or are currently fashion brand owners, or who are thinking about being, it doesn't have to be fashion, it could be just any brand, who are currently wondering like, maybe I should start a brand. What advice do you have for them?
So I would say definitely make sure you get out of your own way. Meaning like the thoughts in your head that really make you say, oh, I can't do this. Get rid of those. Get rid of those negative thoughts about what you can and can't do. If you have I feel like we're all created for a purpose, and we have some uniqueness that we bring to the world. So whatever that is that you have, go for it. You can do it. And it sounds so cliche, like, oh, I can do this, or it really is. It really is. You can do it. Secondly, find your tribe, find your squad, find those, surround yourself around those that are smarter than you. What is that saying they talk about? If you're the smartest one in the room, you need to go to another room, something. Yeah. And that's okay. I bring my own uniqueness in certain spaces. If this was if we was talking about real estate, I would be like, bah, 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 because I've done it for so long. But at some point I had to learn, this is the same thing for me right now. The people that I'm surrounding myself around organically, like it kind of organically happened, are those that I can learn from. And they are my tribe. They are my squad that is really helping me during this time. So I think that is key. That is key to make sure that you have a good team around you that can pick you up on those days when you're trying to figure all of this out. Just don't be so hard on yourself during the beginning stages. And even if you're in it, if you have to take a step back, like I was just saying, be willing to rewind. So that's my next. Yeah, be willing to rewind when you need to. And for some of you all that don't know, I think rewind goes back to the old VCR days, but be willing to go back. I know, right? I'm like, some of y'all might not know what that is, but don't be afraid to rewind, because it's never too late. As you're going through the process of learning the new space that you're in and taking this step, like myself, I went about it in kind of out of order in a certain way, but it's okay to take those steps back, because I feel like it will propel you to where you're supposed to be.
Take this advice and run with it, because I promise you it'll change your life. And I hope y'all learned some things, got some good value out of this episode. Tressa, my love, thank you so much for being a guest. I truly appreciate it.
Oh my goodness, I am so grateful. Thank you. Diamond. The name fits. I cannot wait till I'm designing that diamond handbag.
Oh, I can't wait for you to design it either. You don't even ask me, do I want it? Just send it. Okay?
Okay.
With the invoice right there. Just insert credit card info. That's it. That's it. Well, tell them where they can find you, boo.
So you can find me. I am on IG at AHISA_brand, and also on the website, AHISAbags.com.
Beautiful. Well, y'all, I will catch y'all in the next episode. Tressa Love, I'll be making sure these people slide in your DMs. I'll be in your DMs, okay?
All right. That's a good slide in the DMs.